your boy, your companion, your partner in crime who's nice with the rhymes. You better hit that subscribe button. Don't get left behind. Moise back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be reacting to the Bassem Youssef interview with the NELK Boys. Should be interesting, man, because I feel like the only reason they have Bassem Youssef on is because they had Netanyahu on and they got so much heat, they got so much backlash that they really don't have another option. They have to bring on someone from the Palestinian side. And I think that Bassem Youssef is a good voice to do that, good energy to do that. I feel like he's mature enough to school them in the right way. I feel like he's mature enough to have these conversations in the right way. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. Let me go ahead and make sure we're live everywhere. Join me on YouTube. Better quality and chat. Just set our Instagram status real quick, you know. All right, we're on Instagram, connected to RMTP. We're live on Rumble. Streaming to go live. Are we live on YouTube, man? Are we live on YouTube? Jennifer Henry, what's up? How you doing? Are we live on YouTube? Boom, boom. All right, just want to make sure we're live on YouTube real quick and we can get started. We can get started. Jennifer, my day's going well. How's your day? How are you today? I'm doing well. I'm getting ready to react to this podcast video, so I'm excited. Boom. Does it show that we're live? Yup, it shows that we're live. But it says up and coming here. Alright, we're going to have to figure this out. It might not be today, but we're going to have to figure this out. Because I think I am live on YouTube. If anyone's here from YouTube, can you just comment? Let me know you're here from YouTube so that I know that we are live on YouTube and I'm not tripping out. Either way, man, let's go ahead and get started. We got it pulled up. Let me go ahead and just share the video. Boom, boom. Where we at, man? Chrome, there we go. All right, we lit. All right, we'll go right here. Maybe decrease the size a little bit. Nah, I like bigger size. Let's see how it plays out. All right, cool. Let's get started, man.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Full Send podcast. This is actually our very first live episode we've ever done. It's an interesting one for our first live, but
We're making history.
We have Steiny here, and I want to welcome Bassem Youssef to the Full Send podcast. Thank you for being with us. How you doing?
Thank you for having me, guys.
Of course. Obviously, last week was controversial for us, to say the least. We had someone on the podcast, very controversial, as I said, to say it in the least form. What was your reaction when you saw that we had Benjamin Netanyahu on the Full Send podcast?
Well, I didn't know about what's. I am sorry to say, like because I'm not your demographic, so I didn't know who the NELK Boys is. But like, I found my DMs exploding. It's like, did you see what the NELK Boys did? It's like, who the fuck are the NELK Boys? And then I didn't know that you're that big. I'm sorry. Again, I'm not your targeted demography, so I apologize for my ignorance. So and then I started following what's going on and the aftermath. And I being in the public eye for 15 years, I understand what does it mean to be in a very tough situation, and now trying to crawl out of that situation. It's difficult, especially with the backlash, because the bigger you are, the bigger the backlash. And well, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of people when they knew that I'm on the podcast, like, yeah, go there, do them, have them. And I said, like, there's nothing to gain from just canceling people without knowing what went wrong, because I think it is better to actually to learn from what's happening and look at the bigger picture instead of just like, you know, destroying two young people like you, because that doesn't serve anybody, right? It makes people happy that you
I like
guys
this
are
guy, man.
following,
He's
but
super respectful.
the bigger picture is, why did this happen, and why was this were you used? Part of you is your responsibility, and part of you not knowing. So I heard many of the justification that happened, saying that, well, you know, it was a great opportunity, and I'm like, wouldn't you like get him on the podcast? I said, yes. If somebody told me, would you interview Netanyahu? I was like, hell yeah, but I'll be prepared. And I think the biggest part of you, that you were not prepared. 2 years under like the biggest genocide in our history, you guys had no idea what's going on. If somebody told me, hey, you're going to be tomorrow on the starting five of the Lakers in the NBA, I was like, that's a great opportunity, but I'm not prepared. I'm not going to make a fool out of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about you platforming someone or someone giving a chance for free speech. You were used, right? And it didn't start with the podcast. It started 2 years ago in March 2023 when you went to Israel, because I know, like I told you, that Israel has increased their Hasbara budget, which is their propaganda machine, with $150 million, and part of that money goes to influence people in college campuses, hire influencers like you, getting them into fancy trips to Israel, giving them this filtered, layered picture that is made up, that is fake. I mean, I watched it yesterday and I was cringing, because not because like you're showing how cool Israel is or they have nightclubs.
You're saying our NELK video in
Yeah,
Israel?
yeah. So because when the part when you mentioned Palestine, do you remember? We're going to a place that is so dangerous now. Palestine. And then you are in a bus, and then like special forces come in and kidnap you, and this kind of like IDF simulation, counterterrorism, and then they're telling you, we have a dog that only breeded in Israel. It can kill a man. And you understand that like the kind of psychopathic behavior of a country that like tells you like part of its like tourist attraction, that we're killing terrorists and we're breeding dogs to kill human beings. And by the way, I don't know, part of the anger is like, just last year there was like a kid with autism and Down syndrome that was killed by one of these dogs. And then the next scene is, let's go and see Palestinian family, and the only Palestinian family in this video are just like a bunch of Bedouins in a tent, a guy who's married 2 wives, and he tells you, my whole life is about camels and goats and chicken. And then you find like a 60 years old one, I just live on pita bread and milk. So even if October 7th didn't happen, you were used in a propaganda machine to tell people, this is what you need to know about Palestinians. They're just like a bunch of people with cows and goats, marrying 2 people, living in a tent, happy with the pita bread and milk. So you were recruited in March 2023, and you were activated in July 2025, right? So, and I'm saying this because I'm saying this out there for all of the influencers around there, because there's a lot of people got backlash. There's influencers who went there like wearing IDF. It's like, we didn't know what was going on. Like you, it's like, I didn't know I'm kissing a Jewish wall.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely admit that. I mean, I think we were both just ignorant to what was going on over there. And obviously, you know, I knew he was, I'll be honest, I thought he was controversial, but I was definitely ignorant to what was going on in that area. And I can admit that. And it was definitely, I wish we could have gone back and, you know, had 2 weeks to sit down with someone like yourself and just, we should have grilled him 50,000, 100,000 times harder, but something we can't get back, and we'll probably always regret.
I don't know. I think that's BS, bro. I think that's BS. I think that they already knew what type of questions they were going to be asking. I think they were well aware of who was coming on the podcast. And I think their issue was specifically not getting too controversial. That's why when Myron hopped on stream with them and started talking about how, you know, Netanyahu was a criminal and how he should have been prepared, and he started talking about 9/11. And as soon as he started talking about 9/11, Steiny and did I just forget this dude's name, bro? What was his name? Whatever. He shut the conversation down pretty quickly. He shut the conversation down pretty quickly because he didn't want to get too controversial. He didn't want facts to start being exposed. He didn't want to risk his viewership, it's fair. Like, cool. If that's what you stand for and you don't really care enough and you want to do that, then cool. But I still do think that don't put yourself in a position where you don't want to be responsible for the consequences. And if anything, I think a lot of the propaganda that comes from the West is specifically designed to make you think that people in the Middle East are nothing more than brown monkeys. They're barbaric, they have no rules, they're oppressive to women, they can't use technology, when in reality, none of those things are true. The only reason the Middle East is the way it is because most of the Middle East is torn by war. Yemen, destroyed by war. Iraq, destroyed by war. Syria, destroyed by war. Palestine, destroyed by war. Jordan, destroyed by war. All of these places had thriving economies, had good leaders, had leaders that cared about the people until there were military bases that were installed. These countries started having internal conflict. Rebels were being funded and governments started getting toppled. So this whole propaganda machine is designed to make you think that no one other than brown monkeys live in the Middle East.
Of course, but I know you can't get back this like trip in Israel, but I'm just telling you this was like part of a much bigger propaganda effort, right? And a country that spends $150 million on its image, they are covering something. They when they spread all of these propaganda, it's like, we're not starving people in Gaza. You understand that this conversation has been happening for 2 years. First of all, I'm not absolving you from your trip. You guys are not little kids. You are fucking 30 years old.
Facts.
Right? People in your age have families and they have a career, and you need to stop. I'm just saying this because you're my little brothers, but you're not little, right? You need to stop infantilizing yourself. It's like, we're just stupid people doing stupid stuff. You're 30 years old and you need to be aware of what's happening in the world, and that your reach and your platforms mean something and it affects people. And I think the biggest reason why people were so upset for you, not because you brought someone and you didn't contest him, that it is the talking point that he used is the same talking points that have been used for 2 years to kill thousands of people, right? So, but I mean, and part of the reason why people were so angry is that, forget even if you don't know anything about the conflict, there was like a total lack of critical thinking. I mean, you guys asked him the one good question when you told them in October 7th, how could this be allowed to happen? Everybody knowing that Mossad is like a crazy intelligent thing that infiltrates people and put bombs in pages. How did you not see that coming? But also, a critical thinking is, how come an attack was allowed for 6 hours in the most heavily surveilled part in the world? You understand, like in 2019, they killed like hundreds of people just because they approached the wall between Gaza and Israel. You understand? They killed. You have like copters, like drones. You have snipers. Suddenly, for 6 hours, you remember what Netanyahu told me? How big is Israel? He told me it's like as big as Rhode Island.
As Jersey, right?
Yeah. Like you understand the distance between Gaza and Tel Aviv is 44 miles. You understand that he was just bragging to you that like, hey, we went across 3 countries to bomb Iran, but you can't have a single helicopter coming out to defend your people. Like the October 7th was used in order to tell people, look to the Jewish people that were killed. But you don't understand that you pay $millions as Americans, as Canadians, to protect those Jewish people. So it's not just like an intelligence failure. It was a deliberate way to let people get slaughtered And what did he tell you when you asked him what happens? Like, we're still investigating it. Really investigating it for 2 years? You don't know how people for 6 hours continue to kill people? That's why when we went on other people podcasts and they told you, guys, they used the Hannibal Directive. They killed their own people. And I sent you all of the stuff. What was your reaction? Dude, that's conspiracy. Again, people were angry because you didn't read what's going on there, right? Israel uses something called blitzkrieg. You know what's blitzkrieg? It means flash attack. This is the Nazi did. They do like a very coordinated attack, very quickly, very fast. And it's like very simple messaging. Decapitated babies, mass rape, right? So there's an emotional response. People get...
Honestly, the truth about October 7th is that, bro, we're living in a time with live feed security cameras. You can literally see as someone is moving closer to a location through live feed videos, and you're telling me that one of the most established, one of the most advanced, one of the most well-funded security systems in the world was unable to see people coming its way? Honestly, I truly do feel like we're at the point in time where mainstream media is disrespectful to the average person's intelligence. I feel like they dish out stories and don't even believe that they owe you an explanation. They're kind of like, this is what it is, this is what you should believe, and if you do anything other than believe the headline that we're setting right now, then you are a bigot and a racist and you're anti-Semitic and you should be shut down and you shouldn't have an opinion. It's crazy. They literally insult our intelligence, whether it's with COVID, whether it's Black Lives Matter, or whether it's with Israel, Palestine. It really is irrelevant as to the specific of what it is that they're publishing, and more directly, the fact that they think the average Joe is dumb and they feel like you don't deserve enough respect for them to even tell you a version of the truth. They believe no matter what they tell us, what they print, we're just going to blindly believe and accept it. And I think that's no longer the case. I think the average American is awake. I think the average person has questions. And I think people realize that it's better to stand up for the right things and lose materialistically versus staying quiet for the rights of other human beings, knowing that futuristically it's at the expense of your own. Some real ish, man.
Get so angry, and then after a couple of days, everybody goes back to their Netflix, to their UFC fight, to the NBA, and the people who stay, it's like, wait a minute, that is fucked up. That didn't happen. There's so many plot holes. Already, most of the people has already went back to their lives. So the people who stay and hold them accountable will be called fringe, obsessed, anti-Semitic, conspiracy theory. Like you said, oh, dude, this is conspiracy theory. It's not. And this is why I have like sent you all of the videos so you can be educated. When you were on the podcast and they were telling you, dude, they spit on Christians in Israel. I was like, I was in Israel. Nobody spit on me. Yes, of course, because you were in a curated propaganda machine that showed you one thing about Israel. You remember when you were like in that bus and there was a guy with a scarf? It's like, oh, that guy with a scarf, like that. I don't know if you or someone of your friends said, he looks suspicious. It's not that cold. So the only representation of Palestinian are either people staying in a tent or a suspicious guy with a scarf. And I don't know who edited that. If it seemed like Mossad edited it, and if you guys have edited that, is fucked up, because it just like it solidifies the same racist tropes about a group of people that being slaughtered and starved to death right now, and then they distract you with questions like, it is Hamas. It's the people, they're not allowing aid in. And you understand that this is the same exact conversation that's been happening for 2 years. They bomb hospitals. It's not us. It's Hamas. Oh, it's us. But there were Hamas underneath it. It's maybe a mistake. Then after bombing hospital, they bomb schools. And then they bomb entire residential areas. Then they...
I'm surprised they actually added the actual news article to show it.
kill women and children. And now, 2 years later, we are discussing the same question, but like, are we starving them or is it Hamas starving them? You see the cycle of deceit, the cycle of lies, the cycle of propaganda. So that's why I'm not coming here to say like, oh, they are starving, because I'm not gonna go after each and every single lie that he said, because it's exhausting. and they have been doing that for 2
Facts.
years. So I'm here to show you the patterns and the bigger picture to understand that you're sitting with a narcissistic, psychopathic liar that's used to gaslighting people and lie them to them in their faces.
Yeah, I want to say too. Yeah, we obviously, one thing that hurt me the most when we had him on was just, I have a lot of personal, friendships and stuff from people of all religions, and a lot of people were obviously just upset, and they were messaging me personally, like friends, and saying, why did you have him on and stuff. So when I told them that we were having you on to explain us the bigger picture, they were all very excited. So honestly, we just want to learn about this, and we obviously just want to use our platform to educate people.
What do
I
you wanna
respect
learn
that.
about?
I mean, I think it would just be good for you to talk about what Netanyahu said and explain us,
Well, one thing I said about the October 7th, he, and I like not just October 7th, is the way that he dehumanized the whole population. Remember when he told me, how can young people march in the streets with people who kill gays? And then he used this overplayed, lame joke, like gays for Gaza is like chicken core for KFC. And it's just he keeps saying it in everywhere, and it sounds stupid. And they tell me they would kill women if they're not in hijab. So this guy who pretends that he cares about gays and women, and I send you the articles, how they have actually used revenge porn in order to recruit gay people. They go into Grindr and Facebook and Instagram. I think you have the headlines.
The IDF goes on Grindr.
Yeah. They actually pick those gay people, and then they use revenge porn in order to hire them as informants. You have that?
Oh.
Yes. So over the past several months, I spoke to there's a lot of queer Palestinians that actually been used by the IDF in order to actually hire them as informants. And then the same guy who cares about women and children, he already killed more than 28,000 women and children in less than a year and a half. And again, they use revenge porn. There's even a movie about it made by an Oscar-nominated director. He's a Palestinian, and it's called Hoda Salon. And they talk about how for very many years they have spiked women's drinks in beauty salons in order to shoot them and film them in compromised position, and then use them or use their husbands as informants. So you understand the level of pathology and the level of narcissistic behavior, the level of evil these people are doing, and then they have the audacity to come and talk about gay people and talk about women. This is crazy, man. You understand? And when I went and I sent you that stuff in order to look and verify, and this is why the reason we're doing this in live, because I invite anybody to fact check everything that I say as we go on.
Respect.
So you're saying
That's the crazy part too, man. Most of us don't realize, or maybe at this point some of us do, bro, there is legitimate evil that exists in the world. There are people that are child predators. There's people that traffic humans. There's people that want to inject chemicals into your body and castrate you. There's people that are putting hormones in your food to make you feel imbalanced. There's people that have the sole objective of draining the life out of you. And if human beings don't wake up to that reality that there are people out there that are looking to destroy you, man, let's take it a step further. There's not only people that are looking to destroy you, there is people that are looking to enslave you. They want you as slaves. And this ain't like a new concept. This isn't something that hasn't happened in the history of the world before. When it was Pharaoh at the time of Moses, he had slaves. When it was the colonizers bringing people in from Africa, they had slaves. And we might live in the modern world now, so we don't see it directly, but there are still plenty of places on the planet that have, I'm not talking about financial slavery. I'm not talking about people that wake up and go to work and don't make enough money to pay their bills, and that way they're financially enslaved. There are people in the world that are still actual slaves. That's just the reality. That's just honest. And most of us in the West, we're so spoiled, we're so entitled, we're so ignorant, we're so unread that we don't even realize that the majority of the world does not have any of the facilities and conveniences that we have. Alhamdulillah, thank God that we have these things, but most of the world is not living in that reality. Most of the world does not have those conveniences. Most of the world is not living happily and abundantly. They're suffering and they're struggling. And most of us in the West are unaware of that fact.
Israel they're recruiting gay people from Palestine and using them as
That's
informants and
happening a lot
blackmailing
in the West Bank. Yes.
Well, so what about some of the stuff Netanyahu said? I know this is for you is probably basic, but what he said, we asked him if he was purposely starving people in Gaza, and he
Yeah.
said Hamas is stealing the food.
It's interesting that we would actually take the war of an indicted war criminal and a guy who's been caught lying many times. Like, for example, when he say Iran is days away from creating a nuclear bomb, and there's videos of the internet of him saying many times, oh, Iran is like 5 months away, 3 months away. And you understand, when you asked him about like Iraq, oh, he said, oh, that's unfortunate. And yet he has a video saying Iraq is a month away of creating weapons of mass destruction.
I've
And you
seen
remember,
that video. I've seen the video of him talking about Iran.
yeah,
for,
so you
since the
see, you
90s.
see a guy that like, if you have a friend, Steiny, and if you have a friend that consistently lies to you and you caught up lying, when would it be enough to say, okay, that guy, I'm not going to take anything he says? Now, the thing about like him saying we're not starving, it's Hamas. There's also the stuff of the articles that I sent you. There is like multiple articles of Israel killing aid workers, UN workers, saying that they are Hamas. You know, they have killed over like, I don't know the number, 100, 200 people of aid workers. They are like lining people in aid lines and then they are killing them. When they tell you,
So people that are not even involved in the conflict, they're
yes,
aid workers.
I think the number is like they killed over 180 doctors or it's just it's the numbers
crazy.
is like so big now you can't even like catch up with the numbers. And I was in London. They were playing the world premiere of a documentary called Doctors Under Attack, and it shows you. It's a documentary done by the BBC, by the way. It shows you how. It's good there. Yeah.
There's over 400 Palestinians.
So,
killed
and of
around
course, it's very
Gaza.
easy to say, oh, the United Nations is anti-Semitic. Everybody is anti-Semitic. Everybody is lying. And the only one who's not lying is Netanyahu.
Facts.
Right? So those people that...
So like this one, for example, is this like a bombing, or is this just like they're coming and like gunning them down?
They're gunning them down. They're using drones and killing them. There's even like a whistle...
There's literally babies that have been found with bullet wounds in their head, bullet wounds in their genitals, bullet wounds everywhere. But nah, bro, it was an accident.
that came a couple of days ago
Accident.
who was working with the aid groups, and he said
Sorry.
like there's like a little kid who came and kissed our hands because we gave him food, and as he was walking away the IDF
Subhanallah.
shot him in the head. It's crazy, man.
And this
Right?
was like almost a month ago, not only.
yeah. So
And 400 people, those are civilians.
yeah, but that's that number gets updated by the minute right now, and it's you can just like you can go through the headlines if you want, but the reason I'm like showing you this is that Israel is the only one who has the absolute control of getting aid in and out. And I know that you've seen on the internet, they're showing their soldiers. Here's the aid sitting here. The UN is not taking them. Dude, they are killing UN workers and calling them Hamas. If you start calling everybody
Facts.
Hamas, the doctors are Hamas, the kids are Hamas, the UN orders are Hamas, there is no way for people to go in and do anything.
Brown
You
monkeys.
see, you know how desperate people are? People are riding on boats and trying to get aid in these flotillas. And one of them is like a comedian that you work with. His name is Jacob Berger. He's Jewish, by the way, from New York. And he was arrested by the IDF. And one of them, he's the
I
only,
saw that.
and the only black dude on that flotilla. He was beaten and tortured.
One thing I will say off bat is I respect the fact that he is being what was this dude's name? It's not Todd. It's what the hell, bro? What was this dude's name? What was this guy's name? Does anybody remember his guy's name? Not Steiny, but Steiny. Bro, I literally watched so many of their podcasts. How am I blanking out on his name? And everybody's cutting ass on Steiny. Everybody loves talking poorly about Steiny. Take with and looking at Steiny is great. Talking multiple times to Steiny directly and Steiny not even responding speaks for itself. Yeah, what's he gonna say, bro? Steiny's like a little teddy bear, bro. Steiny like a little teddy bear. He just following suit. Why does nobody have his name up here, bro? Steiny and anybody remember his name? What the hell, man? If I don't see it soon, I'm gonna just start watching again. What the hell, man? What's this guy's name? I was about to use the N-word, but I don't want to get canceled. We'll wait till I go a little more viral before I start using the N-word, so I can piss people off. Just kidding, guys. Just jokes. All right, whatever. I can't find his name. I'm just gonna play the podcast. Steiny and is it here? Is it in the more? All right. Nope.
Tortured, and he's American, right? So you understand the level of psychopathy that you're dealing with. It's not about like our word against their word anymore, because they have all of these people activated like you. They try to recruit you, whether influencers or people in the media, telling it's look, it's not starving, it's not happy, it's not our fault. You remember I told you before, it's the same argument they used before. They bombed every single hospital in Gaza. It's not us, it's Hamas. They bombed every single school in Gaza. It's not us, in Hamas. They killed 60,000 people. It's Hamas' fault. It's you see the pattern? You see the pattern?
Mm-hmm.
You know that the most viral video I did with Piers Morgan is when I said like Israel is a narcissistic psychopath, like a boyfriend who fucks you over and makes you think their fault. You know why this like resonated with so many people? It's just because people know this is the narcissistic psychopathic behavior, right? So they are like a bunch of liars, a bunch of killers, a bunch of murderers, and it is, and then it's easy for them to just like get out of it and say like it is fucking Hamas.
So what is like the ideal situation in that area?
The ideal situation that Israel should not be coming in and occupying a country that's not theirs. And I know that you went there and you were raised all your life saying that this is our country, our place. You understand that Israel started by refugees from Europe, people who escaped the Nazis. This was a European problem. Most of those people were in Ukraine and Russia and Poland and Germany. And then they went through incredible hardship. Why would they come to the Middle East and take a land that belonged to other people? That is the core of the problem. The core of the problem is not just starvation or the daily killing. It is people coming in and trying to take a land from other people. And of course, you grew up as a Jewish person telling you this was an empty land and we just came in. There was no one there. There were already 2 million Arabs living there before Israel have even been conceived. And in one night, 700,000 people were displaced overnight on 15th of May 1948 when they declared the state of Israel. You understand the amount like your grandparents are like Holocaust survivors. They wouldn't like another Holocaust to be happening in their name, and they wouldn't. If you have a problem with Germany, go fucking take a piece of land from Germany, man. You understand like where my people are coming from? Like we were just sitting here, and you have like a problem in Europe, and then you were pushed on us and say like this is our land now. Get the fuck out. You understand how sick this is? You know how unfair this is? You understand?
Mm.
So we can discuss about like what is happening now, the situation. You need to go again the bigger picture and understand why this happened, right? Those people who are Netanyahu sat in front of you and saying like Hamas is terrorist. They are the one who actually started terrorism in the Middle East. They're the one who started bombing hotels, bombing people. The amount like if you just like go in and write the terror and I invite the internet to actually fact check this, the terrorism of the Zionist militias in Palestine. Right, the dozens of people that they have been killing. You know, all of the stuff that they have like killing pregnant women, decapitated people. This is the exact same thing that they did in massacres like Deir Yassin, there in Sabra and Shatila. They have been, there's a very famous line saying like every accusation is a confession. Every time they blame Hamas for using human shield, they are the one who's been using human shield. Right? They're actually in 2005, the Israeli Supreme Court made a verdict saying you need to stop using human shield because they were using it so much. There's like a recorded 1,200 incidences of them using human shield between 2001 and 2005. That is crazy, man. Right? So every time you see them accusing Palestinians of doing it, they have done it many times before, even more brutal.
Yeah, one thing I see on the internet now too is a lot of Americans are questioning like is Israel our closest ally? Why are they our closest ally? Why are we sending so much money to Israel? I see it. I mean, even Trump now recently, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, it seems like he's not even agreeing with Netanyahu now. I saw Canada just recognize Palestine as a state.
Yeah, so, but at the same time, Trump said like, well, I think like Canada couldn't be our partner anymore, which is crazy. You are basically sacrificing Canada, which is actually your closest ally because of Israel.
Well, what I was going to ask is why does America consider Israel its closest ally?
No, America doesn't consider Israel the closest ally. It's the American politicians.
Right. So why are the American politicians so loyal to Israel?
Well, follow the money, right? 80% of Congress are openly financed by AIPAC, which is the Israeli lobby. So when you finance 80% of your Congress, your representative, suddenly a foreign country is more important than your own country. Right? Mm-hmm. I think you were asked many times, Tiny, are you American first or are you Israel first? And you said, no, I'm American first. You wouldn't like to have your tax money going to a country and using that to kill children while your fellow Americans in places like Texas and North Carolina suffering from floods and not getting the aid they get. There is, I think.
Let's get one thing straight, bro. Let's get one thing straight. And I would actually argue, believe it or not, I am America first. I am an American. I was born in America, and I genuinely want America to thrive. I want Americans to thrive. I want the place that is my home nation to do well. I don't think I should be penalized as a Muslim for saying something like that. But the reality of it is, it should be standard. It should be standard that if you are in the government, if you are working in Congress, if you are even an elected official in any capacity, that you should not be able to accept money from foreign nations. You should not be able to accept money without disclosing it. Everyone should know that you're accepting money. But deeper than that, anyone who has incentive to make decisions that are in favor of a foreign government should either A, have legal ramifications of making decisions that don't benefit America first, or they shouldn't be sitting in those chairs at all. If you are an elected official, then you are by definition a public servant. And a public servant's job is not to get rich, it's not to get wealthy, it's not to acquire fame and power and masses. A public servant's job is to serve the public. And there's no reason you need to be accepting millions of dollars from a foreign government or foreign officials or organizations that have another nation's interest in their heart. This should be standard, not even just for America. This should be standard everywhere. Like, if you're representing a government, you should not be associated with a different government. No man can serve two masters. You can't have two swords in the same sheath. There's only one leader to the wolf pack. There's no reason for anyone to be serving multiple nations. There's no reason for anyone to be working in the US government and at the same time have any type of incentive to benefit a foreign nation. Honestly, I saw a video the other day with PBD and they were talking about how the president of the United States should be a Catholic or a Christian. I don't have any problem with that. I would have no issues with that. If the president of the United States, one of the requirements was that he had to be a practicing Catholic or Christian, I would have absolutely no problem with that. America is a Christian nation, and I think it should be upholding Christian values. I don't have any problem with that. So why is it that if I don't have a problem with that, people will still have a problem with me saying that there should be nobody in our government that has incentive to benefit a foreign nation? The hypocrisy is crazy. The hypocrisy is crazy.
I think there is the graph with the $17 billion. Only, by the way, so far since the beginning of the conflict, not the conflict, the slaughter, since October 2023, America sent Israel more than $30 billion. $17.9 billion in 2024 alone. $17 billion. That's crazy. You know how many schools that you can build with that? You know how many teachers that you can pay? You know how many houses that you can give for the homeless? Mm-hmm. Why is your money going to a foreign country and using this to inflict the most evil genocide on innocent people? Right?
Right. So why do you think that American politicians are...
No, I'm just told you because of the money. Like the APAC...
because they're being paid to do so.
APAC is openly bragging about financing 80% of Congress with $100 million.
Do they openly brag about that?
Oh, yeah. I invite everybody to go into the APAC Twitter and see them bragging about it. It was like 98% of the people that we promote, they win their elections. And this is the graph I was telling you about. The US sent $17.9 billion in only 2024. This is how much you can do with that amount of money. And instead, it is going to buy weapons. It's going to settlers in the West Bank, American Jews, maybe Jews from other places who live there with like very low rent housing. They have better education, better healthcare than any American here, which is crazy. Why is my money going there? I know, Steiny, I saw you on many of the podcasts saying Like, it is very difficult for me as a Jewish American living there, and I understand it's difficult, but it was misunderstood because people said this is so tone deaf, this is so self-centered, it's not about you guys. But I kind of understood it I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe it is difficult because there's a whole genocidal state right now using your identity and using your religion in order to commit unspeakable crimes, right? But also, you need to understand, what does it mean to be a Palestinian American right now? You understand how difficult it is to a Palestinian American sitting here, seeing his family slaughtered and starved, and that is being done by their own tax money. Can you imagine?
It's crazy.
Can you imagine, like, you sending money to your family to, for example, build a bakery, and then you see that bakery destroyed on phone, and then TurboTax takes your money and finance the bomb that fucking bombed that bakery? You understand the kind of mindfuck that those people are living in? Like, yes, anti-Semitism is a real thing, but you understand that it is... you haven't seen 3 Jewish people being shot because they spoke Hebrew, right? I have 3 Palestinian friends. They were in Brown University. They were speaking Arabic, and they were shot, and one of them cannot walk for the rest of his life, right?
It's crazy.
There was like a Palestinian kid, 6 years old, who was stabbed 26 times right after October 7th because of the kind of fear that was launched against Muslim Americans, right? There was like an Indian Muslim kid that was almost drowned in Texas by a Jewish woman. Her name is Elizabeth Wolf, as a hate crime. If the roles were reversed, if those kids were Jewish, you wouldn't hear the end of it. But I'm telling you this, and I can see in your eyes, it's the first time you ever heard about this. This is crazy. This is manufactured. So part of me is angry at you guys for not knowing, but part of me, I have empathy for you, because this is the kind of a bubble that was created intentionally by the media to tell you that all the perpetrators, the people on the other side, are the terrorists, they are the evil people, and Israel is our greatest ally. This is
100%. 100%. 100%. It's like I said, media propaganda is designed to make you think that the only people that live in the Middle East are brown monkeys. Brown monkeys that are barbaric, illiterate, oppressive to women, against freedom, just barbaric, have no manners, have no living standards. They want you to think that the people in the Middle East are absolutely and utterly incapable of even quote unquote being humans. But the reality of it is, even for myself, man, I went to Pakistan this year or last year, and I found out that less than 2 blocks away from my house is a church. And that church is filled with Christians every week. I'm talking about so many Christians that they got to go around the block and down the block to park their cars. So many Christians. If you go to Palestine, there's so many Christians. If you go to Yemen, there's so many Christians. If you go to Iran, there's so many Jews. People don't even realize that the second largest population of Jews that exists within Iran. So the question becomes, why are they so incentivized to make us think that people in the Middle East are simply just brown monkeys? It could be because they want the land, they want to control the trade, they want to establish dominance within the Middle East. It could be because they hate Islam. They hate Islam. You know, people are always talking about anti-Semitism, but nobody ever talks about Islamophobia. Nobody ever talks about when somebody like me goes to a supermarket in an all-white neighborhood, how I feel when I'm dressed in a cultural outfit and attire, personally knowing that I am an American, but still seeing people side-eye me, give me dirty looks, and most importantly, think certain things about me that I know are not true. And for me to know that if I was to have a conversation with any one of these individuals, we would probably get along great. We probably had very similar values. We probably have very similar opinions. But for some reason, one reason or another, subconsciously, these people are designed to think that I am the enemy, that what my people want is the destruction of this and the destruction of that, and my religion is oppressive, and we're here to destroy everything, and their people are just trying to keep the peace. That's some pretty serious programming. You got to be super strategic to be able to program people to think in a certain way. And don't get it twisted, don't get it confused. This is intentional programming.
This is prime brainwashing. So You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say like it's difficult to be Jewish, yes, I understand, but it is kind of like you are.
I think I can't speak for Steiny, but I have other Jewish friends, and what they'll say to me is what Israel's doing right now makes it tougher to be prideful of, being Jewish.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is
But I don't
that,
wanna speak for
no,
Jewish
but
people,
you understand. But you see, the mistake here is like now you're linking being Jewish to being pro-Israel. It's like me linking being Muslim to being pro-ISIS. It's like being proud to be German to be a Nazi, because that is what Israel is, right? And it is this is a regime, a state, a genocidal state that hijacked your identity as Jewish and then started to tell everybody, if you start to question Israel, you're being anti-Semitic. You know what does that tell you? That being a good Semitic means that you have to approve for starving kids, killing babies, raping prisoners in prison, genociding a whole population, kicking them out. That is what does it mean to be a good Jewish. That is crazy, man. That is actually the most anti-Semitic thing
Do you
ever.
think, in your opinion, what Israel's doing is making some people anti-Semitic, though?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Let me give you an example. Have you seen those videos of the IDF soldiers dancing with lingeries and toys of babies? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Any army in the world is run by one thing: discipline, right? If you are in the army and you start posting shit like that, your commanders are either allowing you to do this, or if they don't, they will actually fight. What the fuck are you doing, right? Because this is the army, right? You're not allowed to just like post shit other than actually the army kind of approving to it. So it is by design. Actually, I asked a professor in London, it's like, why are they actually doing that on purpose? Like, it's very easy, because it is much easier for Israel to be hated and then having them conflate that hate with Jewish people. And when that happens, like, you see, anti-Semitism, give us more money to kill our enemies. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a very, very sick psychology. And the people who are paying for this are Jewish people, right? Because now you are finding yourself inheriting everything that this regime is doing, right? And it is the whole idea about like being a Jewish person is being pro-Israel. It's crazy, right? You know, like a couple of days ago, Trump pushed Colombia to pay $21 million for support the Jewish people for the psychological trauma. And it really, it's crazy, because we haven't heard of Jewish people being expelled from Colombia. There are people who lost their immigration status for standing pro-Palestine, not pro-Israel. There's not a single Israeli who, because of his stand from being pro-Israel, who lost their job, got deported, being blacklisted with the company, being doxxed. This is what happened on their side. And many of those, and the Jewish people who actually got hurt were the people on the pro-Palestinian side. There are like Jewish professors who lost their position because they stood with the pro-Palestinian side. But they don't talk to you about that. They want you to think it is Jewish people against everybody else. They don't talk to you about the Jewish voices for peace. The people who their slogan is "Not in my name." We will not allow Israel to use our name in order to continue with this genocide. They are not telling you about the Israeli bloc that was in all of the university protests, or in all of the protests in London and in Paris and in New York. They want to, again, the same image that they were created in Israel, the way that they use that propaganda in order to blind you of what's happening. They're not telling you about the other side. So they keep putting you in that box. It is Jewish people against everybody else. It is not true.
Talking about...
Bro, a couple of things, right? First and foremost, I will say one thing that Israel has done is it has united people from all over the world. Something that no one has been able to really do in, I don't know historically how long, but people have been disunited, divided, separated, however you want to put it, for so long. The one thing that Israel's been able to do, it has been able to unite majority of the world against genocide. Most people that you come across will say they are not in support for killing women and children. Most people will say that they do not support starving children. Most people will say that this is an overreaction to what happened on October the 7th. And let's take it a step further, man. Let's take it a step further. Wallahi, that if it was Muslims that were terrorizing Zionists the way that Zionists are terrorizing Muslims in the Middle East, I would stand against the Muslims. I would condemn the Muslims. If the Muslims were starving babies and killing women and stealing homes and occupying a foreign land, wallahi, I swear on everything, anything, I swear to God that I would condemn the Muslims for evil actions that they could and were committing. Now ask a Zionist the same thing. If you knew that to be true, would you condemn it? Probably not. Why? Because I have an unwavering, unexplainable, illogical loyalty to a nation that was built off occupation. Built off occupation. I have an undying loyalty to a nation that's not even my nation. Make it make sense.
But patterns, like you said earlier, some of the documents you sent us that I found interesting was just the history dating back of how long Israel has been influencing America's government.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about some of that?
Yeah, well, it's you have a lobby
Kyle. His name is Kyle. I got it. I got it.
group called APAC, which should under American law be registered as a foreign entity, a foreign lobby group, but it's not, and because of its mention, it is registered as local. It is allowed to raise so much money and act as a local lobbying group, right? And because of that, they are allowed to openly pay all of these politicians in order to write bills and to pass laws to protect Israel more than they protect the United States, right? And people will say, this is conspiracy theory. Are you telling us that Israel is controlling America?
Public
it's not really a
information.
conspiracy theory, because if you think about it, a country is run by a government and government is run by people. And if you buy enough people, you control the government. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure.
Am I right?
I mean, if not just Israel, if any government was doing that, it would be a problem,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and I send you even a video of like American senators and congressmen having the Israeli flag outside of their room. They are tweeting, I stand with Israel, while there are people suffering from floods in North Carolina. There is like a town in Texas that made people sign a pledge to not boycott Israel if they want to have flood aid, which is crazy.
That's
right?
wild.
If I told you, hey, your house was destroyed in the floods, why don't you write a pledge to make sure that you not boycott Egypt? You'll get furious, right? So why is this allowed to happen, man? Why is this allowed to happen? Why is every congressman, every media person is just going there and putting Israel in such like a high place over his own country? If this is not treason, I don't know what it is. Like, do you, Steiny, you pay taxes, right? You guys like doing well for yourself.
Yeah.
Would you accept that your taxes to go to support like a foreign country instead of like supporting your own American fellows, like going into the infrastructure of your own country?
No.
Yeah. So that's why it's like the bigger picture here, that the system
Stein not saying a word. Stein is just sitting there. He's like, I need to get out of here.
is much more broken than you think. It's not about like me going
Or maybe
after
he's
every single
listening.
lie that Netanyahu said. It's about giving you the bigger picture of how this is a very curated, a very this is American Israel. Yeah.
What's
this
this?
This is how much money that they have spent and given $51 million in contribution.
To Israel or Israel?
No.
to America?
This is APAC to American politicians. This is how much, like, this is the
And
kind
where's
of
this from?
this is American Public Affairs. Yeah.
Is there any type of other government? I mean, when Russia was doing it, everyone thought they were doing it. to
Yeah,
influence everyone
so I
to
remember
fit,
like, it was
right?
like, oh, the Russian interference. Like, guys, like, you don't even need it. And people say it's a conspiracy, but like, you don't need a conspiracy. You have people opening, they're basically, we're giving you $100 million, give me back $30 billion. That's the best. That's better than crypto, man. I mean, I would invest in APAC. If APAC was a Bitcoin, I would invest in it, right?
What else does Israel do to influence America's government
Well,
in the past? I mean, this is like some deep shit. I'm kind of honestly scared to talk about it.
No,
I'll be
why
honest,
talk
but-
about it? Don't worry, it's good.
Oh, I know. We're in a unique situation.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about?
No, just like, I mean, I've seen some of the documents you've talked about, like
Give me an example.
blackmailing and
Oh, the blackmailing. It's
Respect to Kyle, man. Respect to him for actually asking questions. Stein kind of just sitting there acting like he's clueless, but Kyle's actually asking good questions. This is exactly what we wanted from you during the Netanyahu interview, bro. We wanted you to ask some questions.
yeah. I mean, like, a lot of people are talking about the Epstein files right now, right? What do you think about the Epstein files?
I think it's not a good look what's going on right now.
Why?
Just because I think the Republicans kind of ran on releasing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, a lot of people feel the same way. I think there's clips of people in the administration saying we need to release it,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's not getting released. So it's not
have you,
the best look.
Have you been reading about, like, Ghislaine Maxwell, the one that
Mhm.
was with him, and then she was like a kind of like 100% Mossad asset, and then you have Kash Patel, the FBI director, who's saying like, America needs to wake up and prioritize Israel. And I said, like, why is the FBI, the deputy of the head of the FBI, telling me that I, as an American, need to prioritize Israel? I mean, you see the pattern. You see how fucked up this is. right? And then before he goes into the FBI, we're gonna release the Epstein files. After that, there is no Epstein files, and in the middle, we need to prioritize Israel. You
I
connect
think
the
they
dots.
need to release it because it's not a good
Yeah,
look.
but you understand the fact that you have a country in the Middle East not just taking your money, but blackmailing your politicians, including your presidents. You've seen that article that I sent you at the time of Israel about the Monica Lewinsky thing and the Bill Clinton thing. I mean, this is crazy. That's why it just like it drives me crazy when I.
Can you explain that to our audience?
Yeah, so there's a book.
The history to me is fascinating.
Yeah, there's like a book written by an Israeli author, and it was actually discussed. It was headlines at the time of Israel of how actually Israel have blackmailed Bill Clinton with the Monica Lewinsky tape in order for him to release an Israeli spy who actually stole our nuclear secrets and sent it to America. Yeah. So it is things like that which drives me crazy when people tell me Israel is our biggest ally. An ally will not do that to you. An ally will not steal your nuclear weapons, will not blackmail your presidents with whatever files they have, with sexual files in order to release a spy, will not blackmail your politicians with a fucking Love Island with young girls. It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
Why do
you think they allowed him to campaign on that so hard then?
What do you mean?
Like, why would they?
That's the good
Trump
question.
campaigned on that.
Yeah.
That he was going to release it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's a good
maybe he didn't know that they had something on him. Maybe they thought that like everything was on Clinton. Maybe he didn't know. And then like we have Elon Musk saying, well, he's in the files. And Bear's like, oh, no, I'm not in the files. And that Pat Bundy's like, I have the files on my desk. And then suddenly we don't have the files. It makes you think, right? And you know, like Trump was asked straight up, would you release the Epstein files? It's like, well, it can destroy a lot of people's life. Yeah, well, if they're pedophiles, yes, fucking destroy their lives. It's just like, it's, as an, like, I come.
Bro, the truth about the Epstein files is that a lot of politicians, a lot of rich folks, a lot of superstars, a lot of celebrities are perverted. And that is a fact. When you're living in a world where you have absurd amounts of money, there's tons of drugs and alcohol, there's prophetic or profanity-based music, and you're living in that environment, you're bound to get a little crazy. When you have all the money in the world and you've tried drugs and you can just get women at the snap of a finger, you're bound to fall into some temptations. You're bound to fall into places that you don't want to fall into. And even as far as Epstein goes, I really can't say if Trump is on there or not, but the evidence or what it looks like is that he might be on there. There's multiple pictures of him and Trump hanging out. There are multiple videos where he's speaking positively about Epstein. There's a video of Epstein where he's being questioned and he's asked about Donald Trump and he pleads the fifth. You know what I do when someone asks me about somebody that I don't know or don't hang out with? I say, I don't know that person. I don't hang out with him. I don't know too much about him. But you know what I do if my boy is guilty? You know what I do if my boy is guilty? Oh, but I'm not really sure where he was that day because I remember the car crash and it started raining. It started raining and the cookies fell, and I'll go around every point that I will beat around the bush and go around any point that I could go around to try and preserve the identity of who I consider to be a friend. And thank God that my friends are not pedophiles, but it makes sense as to why he wouldn't want that to be released, because if he was on that list, then it would not only create trouble for everyone else on there, it would possibly lead to an impeachment. It would lead to a revolution, really, because I think people would realize how corrupt and perverted our government has gotten. And that's not good for the people in charge.
I'm from the Middle East, and in the Middle East we complain a lot about like how the government is corrupt. And then I come here to the Western world where like everything is transparent, and I just like find the same exact attitude of gaslighting and of lying, and I found it's like, oh my God, I'm actually in a country that's being controlled by like horrible people in Israel. Yeah, here's another like a nice tidbit. Do you know that Israel has one of the highest rates of sex offenders in the entire world, and many of them are Jewish Americans who actually
Is that a fact?
Oh yeah. You can actually
Like per capita?
Yeah, no, you can actually right now. There's a CBS report about sex offenders fleeing from Israel. These are people who get indicted in America. They have a conviction and they flee. Do you see it? Oh yes. How Jewish American pedophiles hide from justice in Israel. This is on CBS. You don't have to play it, but like I don't want to like kind of like stop the interview. I just want people that they reference it. So there's like tens of people who basically get
no high-end ads here.
Who get like indicted for actually like being pedophiles, and they go hide in Israel, and Israel doesn't bring you back because like they're protected by their Israeli passport. So this is the bigger picture that I'm telling you. When you are on, this is one of the things that we're taking against you. There's no two sides for it. One side is a genocidal, pedophile enabling, blackmailing liars who are starving people to death, who are killing women and children. And that is the side, right? So that is why it's like it's being very icky right now to even give a platform for them to spread their fucking lies.
Right.
Because this is the kind of lies that's been actually hurting and killing people over 2 years. So you understand? So if I told you, hey,
I'm not an expert still, but what I've even learned just with the stuff you've sent and what I've learned over the last week.
So you understand, like I'm all of that. I'm trying to make you understand the level of hate and anger that was directed towards you, because basically you're supporting a pedophile. You're supporting a guy that is actually blackmailing people. You're supporting a guy who's a killer, right? That guy, Netanyahu, who seems to be caring about women. There's a huge scandal in Israel that was unraveled in 2013, that for more than 2 decades, Israel gave contraceptive shots to Ethiopian Jewish women to prevent them from reproducing. And this was
how? Like, how'd they like?
Yeah, they're gonna pull it up right now. So basically, they were giving contraceptive shots for them in order to prevent them, because they were like black Jewish people. And Benjamin Netanyahu was in the cabinet, and they apologized in 2013. Apologize? How can you apologize for something like that, right? Here you have it. Yeah, Ethiopian immigrants in Israel received contraceptive shots without their consent, and you can find it also in Time of Israel. You can find it in
How'd they do that?
That well, they would kind of like get them into like routine gynecological tests, and then they would
And then
just
just bang?
bang, and they didn't know what they were being injected with. And this continued from 1998 to 2013. And when it was found out, it was a huge scandal. And Benjamin Netanyahu was in the cabinet. So I'm just telling you, like if I
Bro, fool me one time, shame on me. Fool me 2 times. Fool me 1 time, shame on you. Fool me 2 times, I can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times and I'm a freaking idiot. If this is something that has been happening for so long, where a country or the people in charge have consistently showed you that they're not capable of trust, that they're not capable of you relying on them, and then we're still the ones sitting here talking about, oh, well, they said this, they said that, then you're the idiot. There's a reason they don't let journalists in. There's a reason that they hide behind smoke and mirrors. There's a reason why no one who's Azayo will sit down and have a articulate conversation with anyone from the other side that's based off facts and not based off, oh, well, this is happening and that's happening, and just hearsay. There's reasons for all of these things. And if people in America are still buying the garbage, are still believing the BS, then honestly, they deserve what's coming to them. We deserve what's coming to us, because you have to be really retarded at this point to not see what the truth is, or you have to be deliberately ignorant to not see the truth. One thing I will say though about the NELK Boys so far, I think that Kyle is a genuine soul. I feel like he's actually engaging in the conversation. I think he's trying to ask good questions. I think he's trying to understand. I'm not going to pass judgment on Steiny because I really don't know what his intentions are. I don't know why he's sitting there. I don't know why he's quiet. Maybe he's quiet because he's like, oh, damn, I had no idea that all of this was taking place. Or internally he's thinking, yo, I need to GTFO here because I don't care about any of this. Put me back where I belong on the booze train so I could go get lit and have some fun because I could really give a crap about the Palestinians. But I will say that Kyle is showing genuine interest. He is trying his best to ask articulate questions. He's trying to dig deeper into the conversation and what Bassem Youssef is saying. So you got to give respect where it's due. You got to give respect where it's due. And I respect Kyle for keeping it 100, and engaging in the conversation and asking difficult questions that he knows that he can potentially get canceled for.
You know what it is, I think? Some of the shit's so dark.
Yes.
That you almost don't want to believe it.
Exactly.
I think that's part
Facts.
of the problem.
It's
like
that
when you say something like that, my initial reaction is like,
this is a
I
conspiracy.
don't want to believe it. Not a conspiracy. I don't want to believe it because it's like, it's scary how fucked up that would be if it was true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's why I didn't want this interview to saying like, hey guys, you fucked up, you're terrible people, look what you did. And I didn't want to just chase every single lie that Netanyahu says because it's exhausting. I just wanted you to understand the level of psychopathy that this regime is, right? Because today's starvation, yesterday is killing, tomorrow it's going to be something else. And it's going to be the same exact loop of discussion. We didn't do it. It's Hamas. It's propaganda. It's like, dude, come on. These are professional
Can I ask
liars.
you a question that I actually just want to understand?
Please.
It might be a dumb question, but like,
No.
what, like, in your opinion, what role does Hamas play? Like, do they need to be completely removed from Gaza?
Well,
or,
again,
like,
this is the kind of the questions that are used in order to distract you from the biggest thing, right? Because
I'm just trying to learn.
No, I understand, but again, we're doing bigger picture
Yeah.
now, right? You have to understand that this all started by people coming from a different country, going into a different country, killing everybody, taking their land. There will have to be resistance movement. Whether you call these resistance movement terrorist, whether you Nelson Mandela was called a terrorist for 20 years of his life, right? He was called Nelson Mandela, who was like the beacon of liberation. He was classified by the American government as a terrorist, right? And people say terrorist because they don't want to get into trouble because they are classified by the FBI and by the CIA as terrorist groups. So people don't want to get into trouble. And then suddenly the conversation, oh, so you mean Hamas is not terrorist? So you support what they're doing? So you see, I'm just like giving you the bigger picture how these questions are used. And then now Hamas is not even an issue anymore. You went in and you destroyed a whole territory, displacing 2 million people, destroying every hospital, every school, every house. And now people are saying, Hamas, if there was no occupation, there will be no Hamas, there will be no resistance, right? And I find it very funny that Netanyahu have openly admitted that he has emboldened Hamas in order to cause factions inside the Palestinian movement, so they will never have a Palestinian state. And you can Google that as I talk if you want.
so
Again,
purposely causing chaos.
yeah, you know, like how you kind of
Control
like
chaos.
finance people and other people in order to they have like an infighting. It's a very common technique, you know, like divide and conquer, you know. So, and this is why I don't want people to get reduced to asking smaller questions. When
I just know it's a question everyone asks.
no, of course,
Yeah.
but the bigger question is that you have a genocidal regime using your money to continue with the killing, using your money in order to buy the media to make you continue being ignorant and not knowing what's going on. Yes.
Explain this to us more.
So,
This is interesting.
so this is basically for years Netanyahu. This is from the time.
What
of
does
Israel.
it mean by it says Netanyahu propped up Hamas?
So basically, they would
Yo, my boy
facilitate
Kyle is
having
real
a
for
stream
that.
of money in order to make them stronger and to kill any other liberal opposition or any kind of opposition inside to have like a different representation of the Palestinian people. It's very easy to have your enemy like and paint them as an Islamic terrorist. So you can, instead of trying to have a critical thinking of what's happening, it's like, oh, these are zombies. These are, you know, when you watch a movie of zombies, you don't want to
Brown
understand
monkeys.
about their motives. These are zombies. These are cannibals. These are like terrorists. So you don't spend time in trying to understand the conflict, and you just say like, okay, this is just like fucked up, right? So for example, when you were in the interview and you were talking about New York, it's like, oh, Mamdani, that guy is like anti-Semitic, right? Where does this come from?
Just stuff I see on X.
Yes, stuff you see on X, but you don't question why is he anti-Semitic, right? What did he say? And that's the one video that I want to play, guys. Is it the people running for the position of mayor in New York, right? You are a New Yorker, right? You're from New York.
No.
Where are you from?
Colorado.
Colorado. Okay, so let's say you are in New York, right? Okay, you're from Colorado. You want the people running for the governor of the governor of Colorado or the mayor of Denver to represent your interest, right? It would be very weird if people started saying, "I'm going to travel to a foreign country as my duties as mayor," right? It doesn't make any sense, right?
right.
So, can you play this video, guys?
I wanted to actually say something about that because
Yep.
I think one of the biggest issues right now is like even that that I made a mistake on is you see one thing posted and no one does a deeper dive. They just believe the first thing they see.
Absolutely, and it's
Facts.
flooding the internet. It is like when you say on X, your timeline is very, very, very curated because like basically if you buy enough, if you spend enough money, that's what I'm telling you about Hasbro, right? Your timeline is full of the same exact stories about Mamdani being anti-Semitic, about Muslims are terrorists, about it's Hamas. So because it is
Brown monkeys.
yeah. Okay, play this, please. That's fun.
Oh, we're doing a little
So this is just to give people context before you play it. This is during the primary election for the mayor of New York. So basically, you have a pundit saying, like, it is how come a mayor of New York doesn't travel to Israel, and then the other candidates talking about how they feel about Israel. Can you play, please?
Who travels to Israel?
These are all the
Adams?
candidates of the mayor of New York. Candidates, yes. Go ahead.
Any mayor that can't say they will go to Israel someday as mayor should not be mayor.
Where would you go first?
The Holy Land.
Go to Israel.
Fourth trip to Israel. First trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
It is so offensive.
If you're wondering what kind of world considers
stop.
putting America first as offensive,
Okay, stop that. So you see, as an American, as a new American, because you guys were born here, I've been only an American for a few years, and I come to this, I have to ask myself, why is the mayor of a city in America have to visit a foreign country, and why is it frowned upon? It is offensive if you say, I'm going to stay in the city that I was voted for as mayor to serve its people. You understand?
Bro, that is absolutely ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that you can be labeled as anti-Semitic for simply saying that I plan on staying in the city that I was elected for is wild. It's absurd. Bro, it's crazy that everyone on that stage said, I would visit Israel. I would visit Israel. I would visit Israel. And he's the only one, mind you, I am a Muslim, and I don't necessarily support Mamdani. I think some of his policies are completely off and socialist, and I don't think they're good policies. I wouldn't simply vote for somebody just because they're the same religious belief that I come from. I think it really does matter what that person is bringing into effect. Nonetheless, in that same conversation, he literally says, I would stay in New York, and I would meet the Jewish people of New York in their synagogues, in their homes, or wherever else they need me to be, and I will address their problems and their issues and try and find solutions. How is that anti-Semitic? How is that anti-Semitic? Wallah, it'll make your head hurt if you think about it too much. How is that anti-Semitic? The fact that a mayor is saying that he's going to allocate his time and resources and invest that into the city that he's elected for so he can serve the people that he's being elected to represent is considered anti-Semitic. That just tells you, it shows you how deep the propaganda machine has gone in labeling and criticizing and really canceling people. Their goal is to cancel you. If you don't align with what we think and what we want from you, we will cancel you to punish you. That's what it's come down to.
The kind of like brainwashing.
I mean, that
here.
clip's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't know what else he stands for. I heard he's like a socialist too.
Okay, we can discuss about how he's a socialist. That's a different discussion.
Yeah.
And you can
That clip's insane.
and you can say I'm not gonna vote for Mamdani because of his economic view. That is quite fair. But to make it a point that he has to visit a foreign country, and if he doesn't, that is enough for disqualifying him even
that's-
from discussion.
yeah.
That is
Why would
crazy.
a mayor need to visit a foreign country?
Thank you. And why is it like if you say
Like
that
a federal, that's different. But a mayor.
if
You go,
you're
Kyle.
staying to serve your people that voted for you, why are you being penalized? And it's offensive not to visit Israel. Why?
New York's got enough problems.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think like he is trying to serve his people, but he's being called anti-Semitic because he doesn't want to go to a foreign country. It's crazy, right?
There's got to be other reasons they're saying he's
I
anti-Semitic.
mean, like,
correct, Bassem, or no?
what?
Is there other reasons they say he's anti-Semitic? It can't just be.
I
because
mean,
of that
you
clip.
tell me.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I haven't because it is the easiest thing. He's anti-Semitic. He's terrorist. He hates the Jews, and that's a conversation stopper. You know when you guys all about free speech, right? Imagine every time you try to tell a joke, that's racist. All right? Oh my God, that's so offensive. It's like, why? What did I say? And nobody will explain to you why is it racist. And nobody will explain to you why it's stupid. It's just like, and it's a way to intimidate people. If you start calling people anti-Semitic, it's just like anti-Semitism is dangerous, but it's not the only ism that matters, right? You cannot just like stop people's conversations like that's anti-Semitic. Where is that is anti-Semitic? And you have to understand like
That's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's not when you have like, oh, he's a socialist. Then let's talk about that. What do you mean he's a socialist? What is it? And when he say like he's gonna do like affordable prices in supermarket, why is that socialist?
I'd have to look into it more.
Yes,
Again,
exactly.
I'm not-
So tell me, but if that would stop you from voting.
I actually do think, I mean, this is off topic to the video itself, but this is just a thought that I had. And Mamdani's talked about how he wants to make city-owned grocery stores to make grocery more affordable. And I can see why that's beneficial, right? Because you want people to be able to afford basic grocery. So if you open up a city-owned grocery store, even if you're not making profit, even if you're taking a loss slightly, you're able to provide better pricing to a wider spectrum of people. The problem with this, and the reason why it ties into socialism, is because when you own or open city-owned grocery stores, what you're effectively doing is competing with the mom and pop shop, the mom and pop owned grocery store. And if you plan on selling items for cheaper prices and you plan on selling them at a loss, then the mom and pop shop that's open a block down from you can't potentially compete. So I do think that there's downsides to opening up these city-owned grocery stores, because a lot of these mom and pop shops can't compete with city prices, with government prices that are going to drop prices and sell things at a loss and not care about profit. Meanwhile, mom and pop shop that spent their last $300,000 or took a loan or did whatever they had to do, sold their family house back in their country, came to this country, opened up a grocery store, they're going to get stomped. They're going to get X'd out. They're going to get demolished. They're not going to be able to compete. So some of his policies I do disagree with. And that's why I said being Muslim has nothing to do with voting for somebody who's Muslim or choosing somebody who's Muslim. You should be looking at their policies. You should be looking at if they're actually going to bring benefit to the people. Same thing with rich folks. You talk about taxing people that are overly rich, but the reality of it is if I had $100 million and I was living in New York City and I was told that, hey, starting next year, you're going to start getting taxed on all the money that you have. And if you earn money through New York City, living in New York City, then if you make $10 million, we're going to charge you 60% taxes instead of 30%. The first thing I would do is pick up my bags and leave. I would go to a place that is not going to try and take most of my money. And you might not get that from majority of people, or you might not get that from everybody. But even if half of the people that have wealth leave New York City, that's a lot of money that's leaving New York City. So I do question a lot of his policies. I do question if he's actually beneficial for the city. I am somebody who was born and raised in New York, and I've seen New York go from a dumpster and a drug town to a place that's thriving and happy, and then go back to Gotham City. And where it's at right now, I would say arguably in my lifetime, it is the worst that it's ever been.
Voting for him because he just say, I'm going to serve my people and stay for the country, for the city that voted for me. That is remarkable.
Well,
that is not anti-Semitic.
It's pretty basic, yeah. Yeah, it's not any.
Well, so what do you say? Yes. Yeah, so you understand, like, if you say like socialism, like, so people basically almost stuff for like almost for nothing, healthcare and housing and education in Israel, and it's doing that with our money. That is not even socialism. That is like grand theft. You know, like, why is my money going there to support the lifestyle of people staying in illegal settlements built on Palestinian land? That is fucking crazy, man. Right? Have you heard about something called Friends for the IDF?
Friends?
Friends of the IDF.
No.
So Friends of the IDF it's a very interesting piece of information. It is one of their biggest leaders is Haim Sabban, who is like a Jewish American who was in Egypt, by the way. He immigrated from Alexandria, and he settled in the United States. That guy is so huge in the Hollywood business. That guy owns the franchise for Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He produced so many movies for Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. That guy is big. You know that?
Well, yeah, if you own Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
No, he's huge, man. You know that the big museum for the Oscars in Fairfax? Like, that's called the Sabban building, right? That's how big this guy is. This guy is famously known for a very famous saying. He said, I'm a one-issue guy, and my issue is Israel. Not America, Israel, right? Now, he every single year, he throws a gala dinner for something called Friends for the IDF. And like celebrities like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Gerard Butler come there, Ashton Kutcher, and they come there, and they raise somewhere between $70 and $100 million per night, tax exempt. So this is money that should have gone to charity in the United States, but it goes to a quote-unquote charity to help veterans of the IDF having like better healthcare, having better education, having like better retirement plan. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, like you are actually doing tax write-off for celebrities who lived and got their money inside America to be sent to support the IDF and to support illegal settlements. It is fucking crazy, man. Right?
Crazy.
And you know what's so crazy? Like you have people like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger who made their whole fame be doing movies, being like saving America, supporting American soldiers, and yet they don't spend a penny on American soldiers, but they send it to a soldiers of a foreign country, an army that is now known to kill people on camera. It's crazy, man. It's like you feel duped. You feel that like, where's my money is going, right?
Well, a lot of Americans I see on the internet now are, really turning on Israel. I think people are really fed up with it. I mean, they don't like how we're sending money to Ukraine, and they don't like how we're sending money to Israel. It's kind of the same thing, right? Like, why are we sending our tax money to other countries?
But you first of all, you're sending far
Stein,
more
you're
money
so
than
quiet,
Israel.
bro. It's crazy.
And second of all, like at least like I don't like actually sending money to Ukraine too. But at least like, all right, you're sending it to Ukraine because they're sending it against like a nuclear power like Russia. But like, you are sending money to Israel to kill civilians. There's the equivalent of 6 Hiroshima bombs that were actually dropped in Gaza since the beginning of war. The equivalent, the amount of explosive power. You finance that without you having any say in it. If this is not theft, I don't know what it is. So again, I'm trying to explain to you the anger that was directed against you far exceeds the fact that you just platform Netanyahu. You're basically siding with everything that this country stands for. And many influencers like you who are having a huge platform are being used every day with these free trips to Israel in order to put makeup on a fucking genocidal regime, and in the same time you like getting the most racist tropes for Palestinians inside. I mean, that video, guys, that you did, it has 7.5 million views on YouTube. Even if October 7th didn't happen, you unknowingly were used as a part to launder their propaganda and give people and just like go into their heads and just like plant these horrible images about Palestinians. So people's like, oh, there's just a bunch of people staying in tents. It's okay to kill them. So you understand?
No, I'm just trying to digest it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to digest. Yeah, so it's so.
Fuck.
This thing, back to the starvation of the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't more other countries getting involved and trying to do airdrops?
Well, let's talk about no. First of all, you shouldn't be airdropping.
You're right, but I'm saying like
but like okay, let's talk about other
solution.
countries who try to involve.
Okay.
Any country like who would try to do it, it's very easy to Israel. Like they're terrorists, they're supporting Hamas, and they bomb the shit out of us. Just Egypt tried to force in. It's not to try to force because nothing goes in without Israel approval. Because let's say, for example, Egypt comes, it's like, okay, we're going to put our stuff in. Israel was going to bomb the convoy like they did many times, like Hamas. Because you will have many people like, oh, it's Hamas, it's terrorists. Once it's terrorists, you can do whatever you want, right? And the fact that like other countries are trying and cannot do anything, it just tells you how much of a fucking bully this country is. They have already bombed Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Yemen. They have bombed the West Bank, where they're supposedly not Hamas. They have killed like thousands of people there and have already like have put 15,000 people in jail in the West Bank. Nobody's talking about the West Bank. Just 2 days ago, a settler went in and killed a guy who was featured in an Oscar-winning documentary. And then the IDF came and they intimidated the rest of that guy family. You understand? This is happening on a daily basis. Imagine being a Palestinian, waking up, having like a settler who came from New York and just taking your house, kicking your people out. And if you stand against them, you kill them. You want like other countries to get involved. Who other countries get involved? America, the strongest country in the world, is being cocked. But they're being dragged by the balls. They can't do anything because their politicians are being openly bribed by that regime. Right? This is the strongest fucking country in the world and they cannot do anything. And every time on that, you have a slap on the, oh, Trump, look, Israel shouldn't do this. And they do it everywhere. You know how many times Biden, quote unquote, like stopped their arms like shipment and then they continued? This is all performative, man. This is all performative. All of these like bullshit statements from politicians that doesn't do anything while the killing is happening. You understand? So this is where you're actually like, why is like other countries are not involved? They tried to get involved and guess what? They were called anti-Semitic. They were called Hamas. They had like UN workers being killed because they will tell you it's UNRWA, it is Hamas. It's just like it's so fucked up, right?
It's very fucked up,
right?
But what I'm trying to understand, and what, in your opinion, how do we solve this? How do we have peace? Like everyone wants peace, but how do we?
How do you get peace? You need to get back to the root of the problem. This is a genocidal country who's like who's holding your politicians who have the power with the balls.
So what needs to be?
Well, you need to vote those fucking people out. right? That's the and I know it's not, you don't have an immediate thing, but you have like a
You're saying American politicians? Out?
yeah. Do you need to vote them out because these? Like, why would you
Has
vote?
every American politician's been loyal to Israel, though, right?
80% of
To the Israeli government.
what? Not Zoran. Yeah, no, Zoran. Yeah, Zoran is not. He's one of the few. Imam Dani. Yeah, like he's the few. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. If you actually stand against the tide and you say like, I'm not going to be loyal to a foreign country being called anti-Semitic, it's crazy, right? It's like, how do you feel as an American when 80% of your representatives, all of your mayors, most of your governors are loyal to a foreign country?
It's crazy.
In any other scenario, you
They're all
would call
getting
that
paid.
fucking treason, right? So you see, and I'm sorry that I don't have an immediate like answer for how to fix this because this is happening because other things has been happening for fucking years. If you have the strongest presidents in the world being blackmailed by fucking pedophile, this is crazy, man. This is crazy, right?
It's not real life, man. Sounds like a video game.
So I understand like the heat that you got as kids. I'm sorry, you're not kids.
We're
as
not.
young men,
Yeah.
like at least you are like, but you are not an American politician who have been paid to be a fucking traitor. Your biggest mistake that you were not prepared, that you were not informed, and you didn't do enough effort in order to inform yourself. That's a big mistake. But I honestly,
Yeah.
this dwarfs next to the fucking daily treason that we see with American politicians that allows this to happen, that goes into the media and launder Israeli crimes. This dwarfs next to those fucking media people who are just mouthpieces of propaganda like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly,
Facts.
all of those fuckers, right? These are like 100% propaganda pieces for a foreign country. You have been betrayed by your politicians, by your media, by many of your influencers because they are being fucking paid. Right? So as much of a stupid stuff that you have done, for me, in my book, you guys, like, at least you are now seeing what you're happening and you're trying to make sense out of it and you're trying to educate yourself. And I hope that after this, that you would go on. I don't want you to say like, oh, we're going to go back and doing stupid shit. Guys, you need to be more involved, at least educated. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And I think maybe other influencers will see this as like, okay, the next time I get this fucking invitation from Israel, no, I know what I'm stepping into. Because it's not just like an innocent trip. It is not just innocent propaganda.
Nothing's free, right?
What? Nothing is free, Habibi. Nothing is free, right? So
the way
it's
it works, right?
it is. So I again, I'm not coming here. I'm not. I told you before, guys, and I know. I just like be straight. Like those guys were fucking scared shitless when I told them I'll do it live. I gain nothing from destroying you. I gain nothing from dunking on you, right? I would actually rather deal with you as my younger brothers to understand what has been happening in front of your eyes all of that time, and maybe in the future you will make something out of it.
Facts.
Whether you
That's actually a very mature
you learn
approach.
or not, it's
I
gonna be up
respect
to
it,
you from
OD.
now on.
Shit's dark.
That's just dark, man.
Do you ever get scared talking about this stuff?
Yeah. Well, I've got canceled.
Yeah,
I have many of my
24-hour
shows
security. Can you
being
tell Gabe?
canceled.
We need 24-hour security after this one.
No. Good. It's you just know, which is crazy. Also, you are an American, you're Canadian, and you're living in the West with the free world, the freest country in the world, and you have to worry about speaking about a foreign country. It's crazy, man. It's
Trying to think about.
it's dark, and listen, I need to address this because like I feel for you, Steiny, right? And I think we should I want you to actually talk and talk about how difficult it is for you being like because I'm sure there are like friends from you've already been hated by one side,
Yeah.
but there are people like from your friends, your immediate community who are actually like or already angry. You said many times there's nothing for me to gain from this. You said this many times. I want you to give you the space to in order to just like talk about this.
Yeah, I just think the lack of education and stepping into something so serious was probably a mistake.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, even since the Netanyahu interview, like just the amount of stuff I've tried to consume, like it really drains. It's really draining. And the issue that I'm having too is like when you do your research, everything, it's just like so opposite. So you're
Yes.
consuming from both sides and it's just like, which one do I believe?
It's not hard
Exactly.
to tell, bro. There's
So-
videos
I don't,
everywhere.
think, I don't think there's. I mean, to step in there with Netanyahu, it wouldn't have been even something that we could have prepared for in a week. I think in
Yeah.
our position, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
you got to be super qualified to do that, and I understand that.
But also you see what you've said is very important, that the amount of information, that the conflicting information. So instead of going, that's why I chose this. I instead of telling you this is wrong because and this is wrong because there's evidence, instead of providing evidences, how do you deal with narcissistic psychopathic behavior? You block them. you know that everything that comes out of their mouth is a fucking lie.
That's why I couldn't even
just
finish
showed
watching
you
the interview
that
with
they
them.
have bribed our politicians. They harbor pedophiles. They have killed American soldiers. They have done so much bad. They have lied so many times. So there is no reason for you to believe anything that comes out of their mind, right? Okay, let me say this in the mic. So in order to provide this, and I think this is something that you can actually help in, there's going to be a button, a click for people having sources.
Are we going to have it in the description?
Yeah, yeah,
All right, we're gonna put it in the
including Jewish historians, Israeli historians, so people don't say they're biased. We're talking actually about the conflict and how what Israel have done to those people from a Jewish point of view who were fair, right? So you wouldn't say like, oh, just like the Arabs are doing. It's not Hamas propaganda, right? And you know, it is. There's things that I heard today, and you're saying it because you've been hearing it all your life, like America is our biggest ally. But you know, the biggest naval crisis, one of the biggest naval crises outside of the Second World War was the USS Liberty. It's like a US vessel that has 34 Marines killed, and they were killed by an airstrike for Israel in 1967, right?
By Israel?
Israel, yeah. You can Google USS Liberty. They are the fact that they are. They have the kind of hurt and the kind of damage that have done to American finances, American politics, that it doesn't come from someone who you call yourself an ally. So the next time when you tell them about Israel is our biggest ally, you need to figure out why they're allies. Nothing that they do, and not an ally, not a friend will do that to us, right? There's so many. It's just like, and as you said, there's so much dark, and then at a certain point, it's like, oh, you're just obsessed with Israel. Well, I am as obsessed with Israel as Netanyahu is obsessed with Hamas, because every time, and it's like. I remember something. It's like, these people chant death to America, death to Israel. Just right now, they're like, they have their football fans going around in Europe calling to death to Arabs and fuck Gaza.
Who, what football team?
Like where's it in Romania? Yeah, the fans going out in the streets, fuck Arabs. They have the chance of fuck Arabs, fuck Gaza, fuck Palestinians.
You don't ever hear Muslims
it's
talking
just
like that, or Arabs
these
talking
are like
like
a genocidal sick people, man. And and they need to be penalized and there's consequences of that shit. Anyways, I took too long, and I promised you that I'm not gonna go long, and I think there's enough information.
How long have we been going for, Judd?
It's like an hour 25 minutes.
I mean, I think this was very informative.
Yeah, an hour 10. Hour 10, you see?
Thank you.
See?
Thank you. You've been very cool during this entire process. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah. You were like, and I promise I'm not gonna go overtime. And I think there's a lot of I think
There's a lot.
There's a lot. And
I learned a lot this week, but even just sitting here now, I learned a lot more, and there's a lot more to look into. And yeah, we have a big platform. I think sometimes we don't realize how big it is.
Yeah, and the kind of influence that you have.
We just feel like such normal guys. Like, I don't know. So sometimes we just take it for granted, I think.
Normal
But I know, but with
normal
great
guys will
power
not have
comes-
like a paid
I know.
trip to Israel.
I know. Nothing's free.
I'm just saying
Nothing's
that
free, that's for
it
sure.
is very curated. You have to understand now. Every time you hear something coming out of their mouth, you need to remember these are psychopathic liars. These are murderers. These are people who have made genocide into a fucking industry, and they're using your money to do so.
Facts.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on. It was very informative, and we appreciate you. I feel like we're gonna be.
Yeah,
friends
we're
after this.
gonna
We're
work out.
keep in touch.
Once I recover from my surgery, we're gonna
Once
work out
the
in the
surgery-
gym.
When
And,
you recover from the surgery.
yeah, if you hear next.
Honestly, it was pretty fair. Honestly, I would say it was a pretty fair interview. I think that Kyle kept it 1,000. I think he was trying his best to be asking the right questions. I think he was trying his best to dig into the talking points that Bassem was covering. I think Steiny was just a little unsure of how he should handle it. I think he was a little uncomfortable with the whole interview in the first place. And I mean, to be fair, it makes sense, bro. Like, if you're Jewish and you have this huge platform and you don't know, especially if you care what people think, you don't know if the response that you get is going to be positive. You don't know if your own community is going to disown you. You don't know if the other side is going to support you. I feel like there's a lot on the line, bro. When you have millions of people watching, like, I think it makes sense that you're a little bit hesitant. But I think Kyle handled the interview really, really well. I think that he was genuinely interested in what Bassem had to say. And I think it's a beautiful thing that even though everyone was super unhappy about the fact that Netanyahu was on the NELK Boys, it also brought a Palestinian voice on the NELK Boys. I don't think that Bassem Youssef would have been on the NELK Boys if Netanyahu had not been on the NELK Boys. So with every rain, there's a sunshine. With every storm, there's good weather. I'm actually glad that it happened. I'm glad that this interview has 1.5 million views, bro. This interview has 1.5 million views. The one thing that they didn't do is they said, or Kyle said this towards the end. He said, we're going to put the links of all the sources that Bassem was talking about at the bottom of the video. I do not see those at the bottom of the video. But overall, I think it was a beneficial podcast. I think it was a great podcast. I hope that this becomes a learning experience for Steiny and for Kyle. I think that, or I hope that more people watch this, more people become aware. If I'm going through the comments, it seems like most people are pretty woke as to what's actually going on. No one's like in reality, no one's like really an Israel supporter, bro. Like, I think everyone is like over it. We're tired of seeing children die. We're tired of seeing women die. We're tired of the war. We're tired of all the propaganda. I think we all just wanted to stop. Just wanted to stop. But anyways, I think that it was a good interview. I think that it was beneficial. I hope the people benefit. Of course, we pray for our brothers and sisters in Gaza. We pray for all the women, children, oppressed civilians all over the world. May God grant them freedom. May God give them liberty. May God grant them strength, man. It's not easy living in the West. I mean, even if you're not living in the West and you have a laptop, you have a phone, bro, we're just blessed with blessings. We're just overly blessed with blessings, and you got to be grateful for God, man. You got to send praises to the Most High and appreciate what you have, because the only difference between you and someone in a war-torn country is geographical luck. You were born into a better situation, so you better be grateful for it, man. I appreciate you all watching, man. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, engage with the videos. I want to start going live a lot more. I will be doing another stream with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson real soon. Feel bad for my editor because I feel like I'll be putting it on her, but you know, trying to figure things out, man, slowly but surely. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, comment, and engage with the videos, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.